Which pitch deck structure should you go for? Should you go for a 10 slide deck or a longer one? Maybe the Airbnb structure? Well, everyone has their own theory. Guy Kawasaki, a very famous guy in the startup industry, has his own structure. Y Combinator have their own guide. Everyone has their own structure. In case you don't know me, I'm Al Adani, an entrepreneurship consultant who worked with hundreds of startups over the years. They all needed pitch decks for different stages of investment. And my recommendation for the structure that fits all is a structure released by a venture fund and accelerator called 500 Global. They have invested in the likes of Canva, Solana, and Reddit, and on their website there is a structure for a pitch deck designed for an accelerator that I very much like. It's kind of my favorite. So let's take a look at it. Remember, 500 Global has over $2.7 billion in assets or managed assets, and that's their structure. They start off with the first slide, your logo and elevator pitch. I couldn't agree more. The easiest thing to do is to just be simple at the beginning. So they also recommend that you would just put your logo as a memorable image per se, and your elevator pitch to make it easy for the investor or for the reader, VC or accelerator to just know what you're talking about. And then they start pitching the problem and then the solution. Very typical, very standard, and simple and to the point. Remember, this I think is a 10 slide pitch deck, so it's quite short and to the point. When you say the problem, explain it from the point of view of your customer rather than a global problem. So you don't have to say that it's good, it's always good, and a lot of decks that I've managed or that I've worked with that were successful are ones that take case studies of simple people, like this person has a problem with that and it's a valid problem. You don't have to say like, oh, humanity has a problem not going to Mars. You know, that's such a big thing compared to a very tangible and small problem. And then you pitch your solution and be concise and to the point. How it works. This is where in some structures they're different. Most structures start with the same thing. Logo, elevator pitch, problem, and then solution. But how it works is where some people differ because they sometimes merge it with solution. But here, I think they're designing this for a software as a service or for a product that has a little bit of explanation. You know, if you're working on Uber, for example, you need to explain how it works. So that's why this slide is there, and I think it's quite vital as well. Traction, this slide I think is the most important. The only thing is a lot of people that are joining accelerators don't really have traction. So in this case, or they do have traction, but they don't have revenue per se. So they would just put traction as you have a deal with this company or an agreement with this company or a wait list of whatever traction it is. It's always good to show that you mean business and that you're not just throwing an idea. Then there is the business model in slide 6, which I kind of disagree with at the beginning because let's be very, very honest and use common sense in this case. Business models are not that different when it comes to startups these days in particular. At least that's what I see with clients who come and speak to me. They start talking about their business and then I automatically know what their business model is and I tell them, oh, you're working as a subscription model, you know? So a business model here, they stated it, but I wouldn't say it's the most vital. Nevertheless, if you have a business model that should require explanation, go for it. Competition, it's very good to put it here. They would say we like to frame it unlike existing alternatives. Your product, primary differentiator and secondary differentiator. I love that. Or you can also alternatively use the slide, the graph, the competition graph, where you could just put 4 quadrants and where you are in the competitive chart. I think this is very simple and it's easy to explain. Market opportunity. Market opportunity slide has been going on for years, and have you ever seen a pitch deck with an honest market opportunity that a market is not growing? All markets are growing. So my personal advice is to put their, as they would say here, calculate users against traction value. They want probably to go with the TAM, the SAM, and the SOM, the usual size of how they do it. This is also not very new in terms of this structure per se. So I would suggest putting also, aside from that, if you want to put that, but also put the dealings or the mergers and acquisitions that occurred in your industry. So if I'm working in design, I would say Figma was just purchased for $20 billion by Adobe. This is good in terms of validating that the market is actually there. Slide 9 is progress to date. Very similar to traction, but aside from the fact that you made money, now tell us what are your major milestones that are coming up and what you already did, so that they would know you have a planning mentality per se. And I think that's the last one. The last one is the team. Of course, it's the most important in, especially with the problems that happens these days with founders just defrauding investors. So it's really important to put the fact that you are a team who know what they're doing. And this is why they're ending with this like perfect ending and good pitch deck structure. A pitch deck is a story, so it kind of makes sense that there are different structures out there. I created my own structure as well that fits our current time. I call it the bizarre structure. Nevertheless, the 500 global structure of a pitch deck is one that I very much recommend. Thank you for watching this video and have a wonderful day.